Hello everybody and welcome to the Jason Albert Laboratory. Now, when it comes to Jesus Christ, everybody always asks the same question. Did Jesus actually walk on water? Well, today in this video, we are going to answer that question with science!
It's Jason Albert TV, the best videos on the internet you haven't seen. Jason Albert is so talented, I'm sure you'll agree. And if you don't, then you're an idiot.
The first thing you have to do with any experiment in a laboratory is you have to recreate the conditions of the actual event. So, in order to figure out if Jesus actually walked on water, we have to take the events of that story and recreate those conditions here in the lab. So obviously, what's the first thing you need to recreate those conditions? Water. That's right. Now, what was water like 2,000 years ago? Well, scientists agree that it's most likely something like water today, which we know as H2O. So I'm going to grab some of that right now. Now, what I've done, just spilled a little bit there, is I've gathered this container full of water, similar water that would have been used in whatever body of water Jesus was walking in 2,000 years ago. Now, I want to be perfectly clear about this. I have no idea what the actual story of Jesus walking on water was. I've never read any religious text, any Christian, any biblical text, anything like that. I'm a scientist. Why would I? Okay, but I do know one thing. To walk on water, you need water. Now, this is about a good 2 inches of water. That's going to suffice. It's a little dirty, but obviously water outside would have been dirty no matter what period we're talking about. Okay, the next thing we need is an individual like Jesus. We can't bring Jesus back. That happened one time from what I gather. So what we're going to need is somebody that could play the part of Jesus. And since I used to look like this, I think I can do the part right now. So now, we've got the water, and we've got the Jesus. Okay, now before we get into walking on water, there's one thing we have to ask. Okay, one thing we have to ask is, did Jesus have on footwear, or did Jesus go barefoot when walking on water? Before we can even start the experiment, we have to answer that question. Now, due to science and other things, we know that the only reason somebody would walk on water is if they did not want to get into the water, right? There's no other reason to do it. Obviously, you have to cross the water to get from point A to point B, right? You could just swim, but if you don't want to get in the water, what's the next thing you do is you walk on it, okay? So you're walking on water. Now, if you're walking on water to not get wet, then you wouldn't go barefoot, would you? No, you wouldn't, because if you were barefoot, your feet would still get wet. You would still be, as they say, dipping your toes in the water. And we know that the only reason anyone would dip their toes in water is to check the temperature prior to them dumping themselves fully in. Am I right? Dip your toes in the water, check the temp. Is it good? If it is, you're in the water. We just established that if you're not swimming, it's because you don't want to get wet. Ergo, Jesus wore footwear. And what type of footwear? Sandals. Sandals. And I've got a sandal here. Sandals expose the feet. These are thong sandals. These are most likely similar to what Jesus would have wore 2,000 years ago. Folks, now here we go. We've got the water. We've got the Jesus. Again, I'm not claiming I am Jesus. The return of not claiming that, just claiming I used to look like this. Ergo, I can play this part, and we've got sandals. Let's see if it's possible to walk on water. Here we go. Are you seeing this? Folks, are you seeing this? I gotta make sure you can see it. We are, look at that. You guys look at now. Now I know what the believers are saying. The believers are saying, oh my God, praise the Lord, look at that. It's true. It's true. It's all true. But the skeptics, The skeptics, they're not buying it, are you? Are you skeptics? No, no, no. And why not? Because the skeptics know we are missing one crucial piece of the puzzle here. What do we know about Jesus, folks? What do we know? We know a couple things. We know that he was the Son of God. We know that he was a man. We know that he wore sandals. We know he walked on water. But what was he? He was a carpenter, wasn't he? That's right. And we know for a fact that carpenters at all times are wearing their what? Their tool belt. That's right. A carpenter never goes anywhere without their tool belt. And although in every depiction it is never depicted as Jesus wearing a tool belt, we can assume that it's always under his robe. Or we can assume that historians wanted to remove that piece of the puzzle because they're not proud of a handyman. They're not proud of a guy that does work with their hands. Why? Because they want everyone to go to college. And we know that the trades earn more than most college majors. And that's what this is. This whole college conspiracy started thousands of years ago. That's what this whole video is about. Just kidding. No, it's not. This is experimentation. This is science. We need to recreate the conditions of that event, and that's what we're going to do right here, folks. Give me a second. Obviously, if Jesus was wearing a tool belt, he'd have had this, the first obvious tool, a hammer. A hammer. One similar to what they would have had. I'm going to go ahead and lay this on here. Here we go. And there we go. There you go. Can you see that? Folks. It's a little floaty towards the end. You know what? All we got to do is add one of these. All we got to do is add one of these, right? Folks, that's a hammer, a Phillips, and a flathead screwdriver, and a whole bunch of wrenches. And you can see, we don't even have the tape measure. We don't even have other tools one might use. There's no possible way that Jesus could have walked on water. Now the believers are sad. Now the skeptics remain skeptical. But that's science, folks. That's truth. That's facts. I'm Jason Albert, here at the Jason Albert Laboratory for Science and Other Things. I hope this was educational. And I hope it doesn't make you question your beliefs, but I hope it makes you question your beliefs. Thank you so much for watching. See you later, Crocodile.
If you like this vid, then like this vid. If you have something to say, then use the comment section. If you are not subscribed, then subscribe and hit the bell, please. If you don't do these things, you're an idiot.